Welcome to today's explainer. Look, if you've ever felt like you've hit an absolute brick wall with your SAT prep, where no matter how many hours you grind, your score just flat out refuses to budge, you are in exactly the right place. As an educator, I've seen this a million times. Today, we're diving into a complete masterclass on shattering that hard ceiling. We're unpacking a totally new test prep paradigm called FalitMastery.ai, and we're going to see exactly how permanent skill improvement actually happens.
Here's our exact roadmap for building elite capability today. We're going to cover the hard ceiling, every question a lesson, the true adaptive engine, the 9 dimensions of mastery, and finally, the inevitable perfect score. Let's jump right in.
Part 1. The hard ceiling. Debunking the old way.
So, if you've been studying for a while, you totally know the frustration of a score plateau. Test day starts feeling like a coin toss, right? Honestly, traditional prep tools are usually to blame here. The old way basically just tests a tiny slice of the exam using fixed forms. And worse, a lot of modern tools just slap a generic AI chatbot onto their platform. The problem is, these chatbots produce confidently wrong, hallucinated math errors. And if you teach a student the wrong step even once, you've done permanent damage. But FalitMastery approaches this totally differently. It maps every single SAT skill without exception, using a patent-pending deterministic framework. That means you get rigorous, completely hallucination-free, error-free questions every single time.
Let's look at the hard data on what we call the ChatGPT trap. If you're going the DIY route with a standard AI, you might get, maybe 10 messages before you hit a wall, and then the quality just drops off a cliff. The generic AI literally gets tired and downgrades right when you need it the most. It's so frustrating. But FalitMastery gives you an absolutely unlimited volume of freshly generated questions while keeping top-tier model quality constant. Because let's be real, true mastery requires an endless supply of correct questions, not a chatbot that needs a nap.
Section 2. Every question a lesson. Fixing the broken thought.
Here's the thing about practice. It only works if it fundamentally rebuilds how you understand the material, right? Grinding through 100 questions incorrectly is just reinforcing bad habits. So for every mapped SAT skill, FalitMastery doesn't just toss you an answer key and say, good luck. It builds a complete micro-lesson scaffold right into the question. First, it teaches the concept to build visual intuition. Second, it teaches a specific 5-step strategy heuristic. Third, it hits you with the core formula. And finally, it applies an analogy as a memory hook. It actually proves the strategy to you before testing you on it.
And because this AI is curated directly to you, getting an answer wrong doesn't just spit back a big red X. The system actually identifies the exact broken thought, the precise step where your logic went off the rails, and rebuilds your path automatically to fix it right then and there. It is literally like having a master tutor sitting right next to you, stepping in the exact second you go off track.
Section 3. The true adaptive engine. A different exam for every kid.
Let's demystify the black box of how this platform generates a completely unique environment just for you. The engine builds 4 distinct exam formats live. You've got the full SAT, which is a complete 4-module adaptive run. Then there's the section SAT, perfect if you just want to focus intensely on, say, math or reading and writing. We have the mini SAT for a short, build-your-own targeted session before dinner. And finally, a mock exam mode featuring 11 distinct card types that really test your speed and focus. The coolest part? No 2 exams are ever the same.
And check out how incredibly granular this adaptation actually is. This is not your basic easy, medium, hard toggle. Every single parameter tunes itself live based on your performance. It's adjusting difficulty, cognitive variance, and question archetypes on the fly. If you start excelling, the algorithm instantly adapts and those thresholds rise automatically. It is actively pushing you just past your current comfort zone to really build that academic muscle.
Moving on to Section 4. 9 dimensions of mastery beyond the first correct answer.
With traditional test prep, getting a question right just one time creates this dangerous illusion of competence. It makes you feel like you're ready when, honestly, you really aren't. So, I want to spotlight one very specific standard today. 9.
This brings us to the actual definition of true mastery. A skill is not marked as mastered until you clear 9 independent dimensions, and yeah, that includes several proprietary, unpublished ones running quietly behind the scenes. You have to prove that you are accurate, fast, consistent, completely immune to traps, and that you actually retain the knowledge over time. And since the questions never repeat, you literally cannot pad your score by memorizing some old test bank. You genuinely have to know the material inside and out.
And finally, Section 5, the inevitable perfect score, math, not luck. Let's completely shift our perspective here for a second. We need to stop viewing a top score as some mystical event or random game of chance. The SAT is a finite, fully mapped set of skills. That's it. When you combine an unlimited supply of true adaptive questions with micro-lessons that fix your exact broken thoughts, and then you clear that intense 9-dimension standard across the board, well, a perfect 1600 becomes the natural, calculated result. You are leaving absolutely zero room for failure.
It boils down to this. Consistency plus completion equals mastery, and mastery makes the score inevitable. While competitors are out there selling generic materials and, frankly, a whole lot of hope, this system mathematically guarantees the level of mastery required for a perfect score. So the only variable left in this equation is you. If the roadmap is completely laid out and that perfect score is mathematically inevitable, are you prepared to show up and do the daily work to claim it? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you in the next one.